One of the most surprising television shows from last year is back with Season 2, but is it as good as Season 1? What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. We're talking all things on Netflix, and today's series is Never Have I Ever Season 2. I was really excited for this. We're going to talk about it today. No spoilers in this video, and if you guys enjoyed this series or not, please let me know down below. So let's get into it. In Season 2, Devi continues to deal with the everyday pressures of high school and drama at home, while also navigating new romantic relationships created by executive producer Mindy Kaling. We go right into Season 2, and right before her impending move to India, Devi faces her first ever love triangle, and we know exactly what this is all about because that was a big part of Season 1, fleshing out and developing these two characters who are each special in their own way. But who is Devi going to end up with? Is it going to be Ben, or is it going to be Paxton? And normally when a Netflix series or one of the conventional Netflix movies, they're dealing with something like this, a lot of the times they handle it in a very tropey and cliched, just unauthentic way. But with Never Have I Ever, Season 1 did such a good job of getting you to have this emotional connection to these characters, not only Devi, but her family and her two friends. Then, of course, you have the romantic relationship aspect that really carries over into Season 2 and is amplified tenfold, it feels like. And where Season 2 goes, especially where we end up in that final episode, yet another moment that makes us go, are you kidding me? It is as emotional as anyone anticipate. And our main character here is as lovable and wonderful as always, but she's still dealing with the emotional fallout from what happened to her father. And it's so hard to move on from that because of all of these things that she continues to experience in Season 2 and how relevant it becomes, and how her mother, at least from Devi's perspective, it feels like she is moving on from what happened. And that really carries weight into how she responds to certain things and how she makes a few mistakes in this season that there is quite a bit of fallout from. Note to anyone who decides to start any sort of rumor, even if you don't intend on it spreading, that is one thing that happens in this season, and that's what you can kind of expect in a small town, especially in a high school. But I really love how that came back to bite certain characters, and then you move into the relationships of her friends, and we get into Eleanor and Fabiola and what they're going through and experiencing, and it felt like every storyline, every subplot, while on its surface, it is something that we have seen before, but there's always a little twist or a little spin on it that makes it feel fresh, but also relevant at the same time. And I feel like a lot of people, especially closer to this age, they're going to watch this show and relate so much to the experiences of these characters and really get on board with one character. I mean, there are multiple that I kind of saw myself in when I was in high school, right? So you latch onto those characters, and when they go through trials and tribulations, you really feel that. But then when there's an uplifting moment or there's just a smile on their face, you're on board, and that is the sign of really good writing and great character development. And even if you're not completely on board where certain characters end up, I feel like a lot of people are going to be iffy on where Ben specifically ends up in this season, and really where Devi as a whole is, and what she has decided on, how certain decisions have been made for her, trying to tiptoe around spoilers here. That is as emotional as expected, and there are so many things that I can praise about this season. The banter, the back and forth, the relationships, how it takes what Season 1 gave us and just continues to expand on each of those stories. We're focused much more on the love triangle this time around, but then you have everything going on within her family, with her mother, with her cousin. It's just a lot, but it's not a lot to the point to where it becomes overwhelming, even though I wasn't entirely invested in every storyline, but when you have so many, you can sort of pick and choose with a show like this, and I was super on board with that. And then, of course, you have the narration from John McEnroe, and it's so weird how he fits perfectly. I loved it in Season 1, and when he pops back up in the first episode in Season 2, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a thing. And I love it, and I continued to love it more and more as it went on, and he's really spelling out all of the silliness and things that are happening in her life, and you look at these situations she gets herself in, you're like, I mean, that's, It's just a teenage high school thing. But then you kind of think back to your time in high school and you're like, well, I probably did one or two of those things myself and made a couple silly mistakes. So you can relate to that. And when it's written in such a way that feels warm and fresh and sometimes sad, and that's absolutely there, then I believe that is a sign, a tale of a really good show, and Never Have I Ever Season 2 really impressed me. Again, maybe there were certain subplots that I didn't care as much about, just because the other stuff was so good. I'm like, let's see what Paxton and Davey are up to, please. But 30-minute episodes, you kind of fly through all this. So before I give you guys my score, thanks so much for watching. What would you like to see me review on Netflix? And if you liked this video, be sure to drop your thumbs up. This love triangle is written in such a way that feels so authentic, and Season 2 continues to build this story in an impactful way. I'm going an 80% for Season 2 of Never Have I Ever, continuing on the trend of being a show that does have those cliches, that does have those tropes that we've seen countless times in Netflix projects, but written in such a way that allows it to feel authentic. That's the word here, and the characters are so wonderful and relatable. So thank you guys again for watching. Be sure to leave your comments down below and let me know, what would you like to see me review next? Don't worry, working on Space Jam, Escape Room 2, plenty more Netflix projects, and a Marvel tier list. All right, guys, see you soon.